Hello everyone, and welcome to the February 2018 Screencast. We have a lot going on here, and as usual, we try to make sure that what we do aligns with our purpose and the board goals and values that we have adopted. Don't forget that our purpose is that we are committed to serving and making sure all students are successful, and we do that through instructional leadership, services, and providing resources in conjunction with our local schools and our larger community. We've got four basic board goals, and you'll see that each of what we're doing right now and what I'm talking about aligns to that. So if you take a look, first off, we have a career center, and our career center goals and our career prep goals, where we want valuable credentialing, work-based learning opportunities, and for our students to be career readiness. In special education, we're working on transitions, positive behavior intervention supports, and making sure our students have common core essentials. In learning services, we've got a very large curriculum effort going on right now, the JC4, and I'll talk about that a little bit more as we move forward. And finally, we have an organizational development goal where we make sure all of our employees know how they fit into our purpose and our goals, and that the organization itself fits into the larger community through collective impact. So those are our purpose and goals and values, and you'll see that the things I want to talk about today are aligned directly to that. First of all, the induction process. We've redone how we induct an employee into the organization so that that employee understands how the job they were hired for fits into all of those things. We also will have a new service guide coming out, and we've always done this before the budget, before we do the budget each year, but this year we've really aligned the information in that guide to our purpose, goals, and values, and I think it'll really be a great explanation of who we are and how we do our work. I want to talk a little bit about the JC4, the Moving the Needle Initiative. It's the Jackson County Core Curriculum Collaborative. Every single district in the county is participating in this, including the charter schools. And what it is a groups of teachers coming together to set learning targets, K-12 for math and ELA. And now we're really working on, do we understand those targets, and then what it takes to get there in terms of developing and sharing instructional best practices to get there. And if a student isn't at grade level and hitting those targets, how do we intervene so that we make sure we get those students up to speed? It is a huge undertaking. Every single entity in the county is involved in it, and we're really proud of the work that educators are doing across the county to make sure that we raise student achievement. In terms of countywide career prep, Northwest, Western, and JPS have kind of headed up this countywide career prep initiative, and the goal is that every student, as they graduate, will have a post-secondary plan. What are you going to do after you graduate from high school? Making sure kids understand graduating from high school is hardly the end. It's commencement. It's the beginning. And so that's the main goal that we're trying to achieve, and here are some strategies we're employing across the county to do that. First of all, career preparation goals are being embedded into all school improvement plans. We are really working hard on implementing EDPs with fidelity across the county, and now in the fall of 2018 we'll be implementing a new system called My Bright Future, and this is a way for students to virtually connect with employers across the state of Michigan and learn more about their career options and their aspirations. Also, we are coming up with consistent and measurable employability skills that all schools can measure. The Career Center has really set a standard for doing this over time. We want to see all schools do this with their kids at all grade levels. Also, schools are taking a look, especially at the secondary level, in their elective classes and aligning them to a career pathway, and then asking themselves, are we offering the right electives so we hit all of the career pathways? And finally, schools are using labor market data in their classrooms to help students decide and be aware of the career opportunities that are out there. So a lot of exciting things taking place on a county-wide basis in a collaborative manner for career preparation. Another very exciting new initiative that's come up through the county superintendents, we've been talking about this for a couple of years, is the new Jackson County Early College. And this is different than Jack 3. Jack 3 really is about a specific business partner and some work-based learning. This is the ability of students to have an associate's degree before they graduate in other fields, really besides manufacturing and IT, where we focused on with the early college or career, really programs around the Career Center is what we focused on with Jack 3. This is, if you don't go to the Career Center, here are some options for post-secondary cost avoidance for moms and kids as they move forward. It's in partnership with Jackson College. We are talking to other four-year universities about connecting up with them for concurrent credits. 11 of our public schools are involved in this, as well as one of the charter schools. And of course, we're participating on a facilitating basis on behalf of the districts that we serve. We have hired an early college administrator, and this was done through service agreements with the participating districts who are giving or contributing dollars to us to pay for that administrator, or a majority of the cost of that administrator. We're also participating in that. There is a larger steering committee for that. All of the entities that are a part of this sit on that governance council, and then there is a smaller steering committee that brings things up to that governance council. Kids 9 through 12 next year will be able to participate with the idea of completing a 13th year of high school before graduating, but in doing so you would have a seamless transferable associate's degree upon graduating from high school. It's universal entry, universal exit, with two very important caveats. You have to be signed up by your junior year if you want to partake in a 13th year, and if you want to leave early in your senior year, you have to have a math-related class that year in order to graduate. But other than that, it's very flexible. It's open to everybody, but there will be criteria that have to be met. And we're really excited about this option that we're able to give kids. It really isn't an option if you're going to be a college athlete, but other than that, it's pretty much open to everybody. And if you look at this next slide, this is my goal and the goal of our board in terms of the larger economic development of the county. We want to be able to show future employers, parents who want to move to Jackson County, that we have options for your son or daughter. And I think Jackson County does an excellent job of providing an array of options. Now the job is to plug kids into the right option so they can be successful. And if businesses see that we have all those options, they will want to come here, and that only helps everybody in the county. And you see our options here. We've got the Jackson Area Career Center. We've got the Jack 3 Early Middle College. We've got now the starting of the JCEC Early Middle College. Schools have AP courses. We've got traditional dual enrollment. We've got IB schools in the area. And the idea is all students, regardless of where you're at, will have equitable opportunities for success across Jackson County. It's also budget time as we move into the spring. We always have to start looking at our budget and building that budget for next year. Some important things to look at on the revenue side are our local property values, and those seem to be rising as the economy gets better across the nation. We will watch closely the state budget process, and the governor will roll out his budget soon, and then thereafter the legislature will start on it, and hopefully the state will have a budget before the end of June. So we look at what the impact is on us and our local education agencies, and then that helps us make some decisions. There is some things that we have to watch on the state budget front, and that's really the pressure on the general fund that's out there right now. And it's not getting a lot of talk, but starting in 2019 and 2020, the recent tax cuts that have been put in place, the road funding that's going to hit the general fund, personal property tax rollbacks, business tax rollbacks, all of that hits the general fund at a time when a lot of things have to be spent. A lot of money has to be spent on out of the general fund. That's always a concern for the school aid fund, because a lot of times they go looking for available money to meet their obligations. So we just have to watch what that impact is as we set our own budget. Also at the federal level, there's been tax cuts recently. You're starting to see that in your paychecks. which is a good thing for you personally, but that means that they can't pay for everything they used to. And so we are very dependent on federal school-based Medicaid dollars. And what will the impact be on those dollars, we don't know, but we're certainly keeping a close eye on that. On the expense side, of course, we always have to figure out what is an appropriate amount to reimburse for special education costs incurred by our local districts. We've got some great capital projects going on, especially at the Career Center, where we are going to redo our welding lab and create some storage out in the courtyard. We've got a really nice grant from the DART Foundation that's going to help us really outfit the robotics lab area and provide some new machines and machining. We've got JROTC coming back to the Career Center in the fall. So we've got some really neat capital projects that we're looking at for next year on the expense side. We've also we've got contract obligations and contracts to negotiate in the coming year, so that will have an impact on how we budget. We also are always looking at tax tribunal settlements where entities say they're being taxed too high, and it goes to a tribunal. And if they settle on something lower, we owe money back to those entities. And one of the big ones right now is Michigan International Speedway. Has a big settlement out there that we have to watch closely. And finally, such as life, healthcare costs will go up. And there's some legislation that could make our retirement costs go up that we have to keep an eye on. So those are just some things we're watching as we begin the budgeting process for 18-19. Speaking of retirement, you all know that you have some money coming back because of a recent court settlement. There are some MIPSR dollars coming back to you, and we will do that. You saw the email last Friday, I think, came out to all of you in terms of our timeline. We're going to do it kind of in 3 categories. Current employees will get their money back in a special payroll run on February 16th. After that, we will do retired and former employees, and then we will seek out the families of deceased employees since that time. And it'll be in a separate run. The only thing that will be withheld automatically will be federal, state, and local taxes based on your current W-4 form that is on file. And then any garnishments would also have to come out of that by law. The only other thing that can come out of that is, by your option, you can fill out a form and return it to the business office by this coming Friday to put some of that money into your 403B or 457. And so that money will be coming out, and it'll be distributed by direct deposit based on your current payroll distribution. So it's kind of a nice midwinter gift coming back to everybody. And we'll, if you have any questions, just please ask. In terms of upcoming visits to your buildings, you can see them there. I'll start next week and go into the next week and be out there to talk to everybody. Looking forward to it. If you would like to submit a question to me anonymously prior to me coming out, feel free to do so. There will be a link provided in the email attached to this screencast. So thanks everybody for all that you do. I hope you're making it through this long winter, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Thank you.